We're here, JJ's LiveCon 5, with Mr. Aaron Dismuke. He is happy that I said his name correctly. We had an interview the night before, but there was no audio, because my program sucked. It was bad.
Tragedies.
It was sad. I cried. Did you cry, Aaron?
You know, maybe you could just take our voices and we could voice act over ourselves.
Haha.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Well, we could.
Good.
Let's do it. If this interview sucks, we'll do it.
We'll do it. Okay. So, we know you're a voice actor and you've been doing voice acting since, what, 9? 9, something like that?
I was 9 when I started.
Very
So
nice.
that's 11 years now.
Alright, so, best anime you've ever voice acted, not Full Metal Alchemist.
I'm trying to remember. I kind of want to be consistent with what I said last time, but I always just kind of make these up on the spot.
Then again, no one heard the audio, so.
Okay, good point. So unless if we do in fact find somebody that can lip read, I will never be called out on my inconsistencies. Okay. Okay. Like my personal, I think the best role that I've played since FMA would probably be Chihiro from Sankuria. That's like a zombie love story, and it's pretty dark, but it's also cool. And Chihiro really like resonated with me because he's obsessed with zombies, and he really likes his pet cat. Like the story starts with the inciting event is kind of him trying to bring his dead cat back to life, and he succeeds. By the way, spoiler alert, I say retroactively.
God, releasing spoiler alerts. Why?
Horrible of me. It's okay. You find that out on like episode 2 or 3, so it's not too bad. But I love zombies. He loves zombies. He is a high school introvert that's super weird with long hair, and that's exactly who I was in high school. And so,
were you a zombie in high school?
I was into zombies in high school.
Do you love zombies?
Still am. Yes. Yeah, that's something we were talking about at the other interview.
That no one heard.
Right. I did a zombie panel here at AggieCon yesterday, yeah, and it was a good time. Some people put some interesting spins on my zombie plan, which is a boat. I want to get to a boat in the Gulf of Mexico and just stay on the coast and fish, and raid for water as I need it. But somebody mentioned like piracy would probably be a huge problem. There are going to be a lot of other people with boats, and most of them will be low on food and water. So they will take what I have if they can. So I need to modify my zombie plan. Thanks, AggieCon. But seriously, thanks. Like, if you ever need to modify your zombie plan, it's definitely better to find out before the apocalypse happens,
Right.
Not that I think it's necessarily going to happen, just, on the off
Just
chance
in
it
case.
does. Right. Just in case.
Alright. Now you have fun here at AggieCon this year.
Yes, totally.
How are you feeling right now?
A little rough around the edges. I was up till 8 a.m. last night. We played Cards Against Humanity and then Magic the Gathering, and I ended up playing Magic till 8 a.m. when I finally went to sleep. Checked out. I signed up for late checkout right before going to sleep, and I was like, so when's checkout? He was like, noon. And I was like, can I do late checkout? And he was like, yes. And I was like, when would that be? And he's like, 12:30.
What?
I'll take it. That's what I said. I said deal.
Alright, so what is the funnest thing you've done since you've been down here in College Station? Hopefully us College Station folks have given you nice hospitality.
Yeah, y'all were good to me. Probably, the Cards Against Humanity game was really fun, but I did my first ever charity auction at this convention, and it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be, just like making stuff up about different objects and trying to sell them basically, and I also got to repeatedly pull. It was for a home for children, and so I kept saying, you know, like think about the orphans, you lot. Got to use some pathos, a little guilt tripping on my audience.
Everyone loves to guilt trip.
To make the money go up. Yeah, and everybody loves getting guilt trips. Yeah, it was great. One piece of there was a fan art Full Metal Alchemist piece that sold for $75. It was cool because it was like a picture of orphans that was for orphans.
And I have to use it so it costs an arm and a leg.
No, it costs $75. I don't understand. Were you making a reference to something?
So, you know, it's pretty dark, well, gloomy and windy outside. As you can see here, can't really see behind the blinds. But you gonna be okay getting home?
Fingers crossed. I've had a lot of
4-hour drives
in my day. You know, if it boils down to it, what I'm gonna do is pull over to the side of the road and sleep in my back seat.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, that's what I'll do if I need to. I only got 4 hours of sleep, so it's relatively justified.
So you have 4 sleeps?
4 sleeps. That's what I said this morning when I was still recovering.
I walked by.
I had 4 sleeps.
One of my other officers, they're like, how many sleeps did you get? 4. 4 sleeps.
Terrible.
We're now measuring sleeps.
But I think that's like one REM cycle, I think. So maybe I'll be good for, you know, I got a REM cycle, I got 4 hours, so I should be good for 8 hours. Yeah?
I think so. Maybe.
6? I think I get
probably
6.
6.
Okay.
Let's go with 6. It'll give you enough time to get home.
That means I make it 2/3 of the way to home and then I die. What can you do? Everybody's got to sometime.
Hey, it's what happens.
Yeah.
Are you going to be voice acting anytime soon?
I actually just concluded my most recent role. All that I can say about it at this juncture is that it involves fast food.
It involves fast food.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I got for you.
I can't. There's no exclusive. There's no like.
I actually have to sign a non-disclosure agreement with Funimation.
Oh.
They'll eat me.
They'll eat you.
Yeah, they have a zombie for that purpose that they keep.
So they have a zombie
office.
over there in Flower Mound that just like, you know, just walks around.
I really think it's just an employee that's a cannibal and just kind of pulls the zombie card. Like, yeah, no, I'm not a cannibal. I'm just a zombie. What can I do?
Well, I'll make sure not to do that. If they ever hire me as a voice actor.
You know, maybe that's like the entry level. You have to eat a couple voice actors before you can become one, and that way you gain their strength. Yeah?
Yeah? You'll be sitting there. Hey, you. I need to eat you. You're worthless. Come here. I need to eat you. I gotta make my voice sound really awesome.
It'd be really sick if that was a way of things. You could audition aspiring voice actors, and then anytime somebody's good, just be like, oh yeah, you're good.
Yep.
And then you eat them.
Yep.
You took this to a weird place.
Very weird. I've never been near Funimation, so I wouldn't know. I'm sure you would know. Because you work there. You should be watching. Yeah. Why don't they have that in the current little ID? I think they should bring that back.
Is it not?
No.
What'd they change it to?
Well, it's still you should be watching, but it's just text, and it's not like you should be watching.
They don't whisper it all creepy like anymore.
Funimation thing.
I guess I've just seen old shows lately, so I still assumed that was how they do it.
No.
It was slightly creepy, but that made it endearing to me. So
because it's Funimation.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. Hopefully we haven't made anyone over there angry.
They're hard to piss off.
Huh?
They're kind of hard to piss off, actually.
Oh, are they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you work with a nice bunch of cast members.
Yeah. Well, we don't get to work together directly at Funimation.
They all sit in like rooms.
Yeah.
as your voice acting.
Yeah, and the exception is for Walla sessions, which is where we basically simulate crowds. Like, they'll have the same 4 guys be in the booth at the same time, and they'll have us record, for a whole like huge crowd, they'll have us record the same sort of cheering or whatever it is that's needed, like 3 or 4 times, and they have us say different things every time. So a lot of improv and working together for that.
Speaking of crowds, you know that WrestleMania. Do you know anything about the WWE?
No.
Okay, WrestleMania. It's Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and one of the things that Daniel Bryan does is his yes chant. All the crowd does is yes, yes, yes. You think that could be a differentiating voice, or they could just make echoes of that?
I think what they would have to do is get a few people to do it, and then they could copy them a lot.
There we go.
And we need a few men and a few women as well, just to get the mix just right. Interestingly enough, Walla sessions are never co-ed. It's always like they bring in a bunch of men at once, and then they bring in a bunch of women at once. Commentaries are the other spot where we see each other outside of anime conventions, and those are co-ed, which is nice. Yeah, and those are really fun. That's where we get to make fun of each other and actually talk about how we felt about our characters. It's the only time that we get that sort of social aspect that you get with other types of acting from voice acting.
Does it feel lonely when you're voice acting up there?
No, because you've still got the director and the technician talking to you the whole time. You are locked in a small booth though, like Christopher Bevins. He's a funny guy. He's one of the directors. We'll be talking outside of the booth, inside of one of the studios, and then he'll just cut me off real quick and be like, "Get in the box." And that's when the box is the soundproof booth in which I actually have to record.
Does it get claustrophobic in there?
Not for me, because I don't get claustrophobic. But I can assume that some people. There is a window too. You can see out of it a little bit. Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a. Okay, there's some life around me.
And there's light. There's a light in there. I usually keep it off. I like to voice act in the dark. Don't worry about it. There's a chair. Now there's a little bookshelf. It's empty. I don't know why it's there.
There's a random bookshelf.
Yeah. They gave us bigger studios recently. Back in the FMA days, the studios were, the booths in particular were maybe 4 foot by 4 foot, absurdly small.
That's dangerously small.
I'm sorry, they weren't that small. They were 4 foot by 8 foot, I'd say.
Well, they have to be tall enough.
They were small enough to where I would lean back in my chair a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I could lean to where I leaned on the wall here, and then I could lean back up and then go and talk to the mic. Because I was ADD.
You and me both.
One time I fell doing that. It was bad.
Oh yeah.
Before the queue. Yeah. They call it the booth story.
The booth story.
So then the third beep goes off after I fall, and I'm stuck. Because I tried to lean forward, but my chair went back further for some reason. It was really
so gravity was not your fan.
So I got wedged with my legs here, the chair there, and the wall to my back, and that's when the third beep goes off, which is where you're supposed to start talking.
Right.
And I didn't say my line. I just didn't say anything because I didn't know what to do.
Well, they're just cut.
Mike's Aaron. I just said help. I'm sure they have a recording of me shouting help somewhere.
Is it an outtake?
They'll probably use it as an error message for the computer or something. Help!
Help! Help!
Yeah.
Were you this tall when you were back in the Full Metal Alchemist days?
Yes, I was always this tall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm tall.
I was not born. I was created. 6'3".
You were created
in my full splendor.
You were always 6'3".
So no, yeah, I was 12 then. So I have grown some since.
Yeah. I don't know. Could have been made. Who knows? I'm not saying that.
I was always 12 for my age. I think I understand what you're getting at.
Yes.
Yes. I drank a lot of milk. I think that had something.
Lots of milk? 2%? Or skim?
Not skim.
Not skim?
2%.
2%. Okay.
And I preferred whole milk consistently, but mother likes 2%, so what can you do? And then a lot of Oreos to maintain that really helps. You know, Oreos are vegan.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
So wait. Oreos are vegan?
Yep. The cream is not cream.
What is it?
I don't know.
But
sugary stuff. It's awesome.
So, eat more Oreos?
Yes. And the way to do it, by the way, is to put the whole cookie in your mouth and chase it with milk, and then mix it all up once it's already in there.
Does it make it even better?
It's the only way to do it once you've tried.
Okay.
People argue that these things are subjective.
Really?
Right.
I don't know. It could be. I've never tried it before. However, now that you've given me this idea, I'm going to try it.
Good man.
So, best anime that you could easily recommend to someone that's never watched an anime that you haven't been in.
It's a toss-up between Code Geass and Death Note, I'd say. I really think that both of those are just excellent introductions to anime. Maybe Attack on Titan, too. But Attack on Titan, I think it would be better to have some introduction to it, because otherwise people might get a little too freaked out by it. Just, those Titans themselves, they are completely horrific to look at. Whereas, and then Geass, its problem is that as soon as somebody sees a mech genre soldier thing, I don't know what you call them, a mech suit, people are like, oh, this is nerdy, and then they want to stop. So maybe Death Note's the way to go. But even with Death Note, it's super emos, and then people are going to see that stigma. What? People have to already be open-minded to do anime.
Yes. So you think?
And I think you'll have to tailor it to the person. If you think they've got some emo leanings, you've got to look at them like Dungeons and Dragons characters. If they're chaotic good, then I would probably have them watch Death Note first. If they're, but I don't mean of ethics whenever I say chaotic good. We've got to juxtapose that scale to how cool/prudish you are towards other ideas.
Right.
I'll have to make an index. I'll get back to you on this. But
are you gonna give me a information sheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get some.
We'll definitely work on that.
You can roll some dice to work it out.
Oh snap! D20?
Huh?
D20?
Of course. It's the only way to decide.
Hey, I would know because I've never really.
Yeah, I haven't either actually. But I've got some friends that do. I plan to now.
So, cop pulls you over.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
on my way home today?
Well, probably. Let's say cop pulls you over on your way home today. And they asked you, of those two animes that you mentioned, you had to choose one of them. Because if you didn't choose, you'd be arrested for speeding.
I'll make him watch Cowboy Bebop if he's a police officer.
Cowboy Bebop?
Yep.
Okay. You were not featured in that?
No.
Because it was made in 98.
Right. I was definitely not in that. I was 6. That's before I started, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, I would totally watch that. Actually, Bebop might be the best intro to anime.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's one of those shows, because Spike Spiegel is just too cool.
He's one of those badasses.
Yeah, in space cowboy genre, it's awesome. It's underdone.
Do you think there should be more space cowboy animes?
There should be more Firefly. And there should be more Cowboy Bebop. I haven't seen Space Dandy, so I can't speak for it. And Trigun's pretty good too. So yeah, I mean, name a bad space western.
I can't think of one.
Right.
I honestly can't think of one.
Probably because if a space western is poorly written, it gets absolutely no funding.
Does it?
Nobody's gonna back up a bad space western. They'll back up a bad Machina show.
Machina.
Sorry, Mech Suit show.
Ah.
I don't know what's called. Big Robot show. They'll back up a poorly written Big Robot show because they know big robots sell. But space westerns don't have that much of a reputation for selling, I guess. So maybe that's why
That's a shame.
we don't know of any bad space westerns.
No. I don't know.
I kind of like that though. You know?
Yeah. Okay. There is an anime, a one-season anime, that you think should have had a second season. What would it be?
Dead Man Wonderland absolutely needed a second season. They sort of, like, the last episode of that show it doesn't even, like, finish out the plot that was developing. Like, they build up all this tension, they give you minor resolution, but, like, none of the characters are safe or in a solid place wherever the show ends. And then the last episode, instead of doing what they ought to have done, they just give you a flashback, like a backstory episode for episode 13 of one of the characters. So, and not even the main character, it's just a backstory episode for a side character. And that's the whole episode. So they need to make more of that. Even if they just went off of that last episode of the first season, because it was a good episode, it just had nothing to do with the rest of the season. So even if they just kept on going with that guy's story, it would be really cool. I really like the premise for Dead Man Wonderland. I think we could be done with it. I think it's popular. It would make sense.
You think they'll revive it?
There's no saying with anime, especially because, a lot more people watch it than there are that buy it.
True.
Which makes it hard to put out more shows. And the people that do buy anime, I've noticed, tend to be into some of the weirder anime. Let's go with that.
The weirder ones?
Yeah. The ones you have to buy. Because they're harder to find, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, Mr. Dismuke, it has been an awesome pleasure to interview you again.
Thanks for having me again.
Hopefully this time we'll have the sound. I will double check after this video completes. Should work.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But anyway, enjoy your trip home.
Thank you.
Don't get arrested.
Do my best.
Please don't die.
Everybody dies. And on that lovely note.
On that lovely note, thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.
Cheers.